Fresh and
All right, welcome back to another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh. You can call me Tom. And you guys are all my buds. I hope everybody's doing good out there. Hopefully people have been cracking their Tales of Aria boxes, getting some good stuff. I know I have. I've cracked a couple boxes so far. I'm very happy to have opened both a Rampart of the Ram's Head, which is awesome. Nice little cold foiling on there, and a Spellbound Creepers today, which was awesome as well. I don't know if I'll be using that. I might be trading it to a friend of mine, but excited nonetheless. It's Tales of Aria. I love seeing everybody's pulls. I haven't gotten a Fabled yet, which would be absolutely insane if I did. But yeah, no, it's been great, and Tales of Aria, people are responding really well, especially on Twitter. And speaking of, I'm part of a tournament called the Creators of Aria. We're a bunch of the content creators of Flesh and Blood are doing kind of a sealed tournament, and I believe I just got my first pairing with I believe the Max from the Fighters Guild, and you can find, I'll be posting about all that on Twitter. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm twitter.com/freshbudspod. So you can find all that there. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I cracked my sealed deck on stream this week. I was able to put together a nice little Briar deck. It seemed a little, going into it, I knew that one of the best archetypes was Briar, and I was hoping to get a little bit of support for either Lexi or Oldhim. And I just got great cards for Briar. I can even go over some of the majestic. I had one majestic. Let me grab it real quick. One majestic and a couple rares that pushed me that way. I'm going mostly Earth, so I have Weave Earth, Yellow, and I got Force of Nature, which was my my majestic. Which, if you need a refresher on that, that's Briar's specialization card. It's a non-attack action, 3 defense, has Earth Fusion. Whenever an attack action card you control hits this turn, if its attack was greater than its base, draw a card. And if it was fused, your next attack gains +1 attack. So sets up for a really big turn, really cool. Really happy with my pool. What else? I had a couple of other rares. Let me go through it real quick. A turn Timber. Flash. Evergreen, which I like that card quite a bit. A Sigil of Suffering, another Flash, and then something that even the people watching on stream, pointed out that I had quite a few Bramble Sparks, which is an excellent card for Briar. So very excited to get going with that, and yeah, follow me on Twitter for all the updates on that. But without further ado, let's get into a crack pack. We got a nice little first edition Tales of Aria pack. Interesting thing about this one is it's the last pack from a box I opened that did not have a legendary in it. So we might be cracking a legendary. Who knows? Get that open here. Our token was Rosetta Thorn and Seismic Surge. Up first, we have Earth Lore Surge. Earth action, cost 2. This is the blue one. The next attack action card you play this turn gains +3 attack. Go again. Yeah, I threw this right into that Briar deck I had that I did on stream. Perfect for that deck. Next we have Ball Lightning. Ooh, this card is really awesome. It really gets out of control. It's a 0-costed. So this is the red one. 0-costed lightning attack action. It's 3 attacks, 0 defense. Whenever a lightning or elemental action card would deal damage this combat chain, it instead deals that much damage +1. So you can chain a bunch of Ball Lightnings to really go off. Really cool. Next is Break Ground. This is the blue one. Costs 3. Has 5 attack, 2 defense. And when you attack with Break Ground, you may put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Nice. Invigorate. This is one of the few like straight up elemental actions that doesn't really require anything other than you fusing. Cost 0. It's the yellow one. Next attack you fuse this turn gains +3 attack. Go again. So if you're fusing, you're using, as I've said before. I got Heaven's Claws. Knock, knock, knocking on Heaven's Claws. This is a lightning attack action. This is the red one. Cost 1. It's 5 attack, 3 defense. And we have our first rare here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's skip the rare. And we'll get the commons up front here. Rites of Replenishment, which is a 2-costed elemental runeblade attack actions, 4 attack, 3 defense. It's the blue one I said. Has Earth Fusion when you attack. With Rites of Replenishment, if you have dealt arcane damage this turn, you put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of the deck. And if it was fused, you may put an attack action card on the bottom of your deck. So I mean, it's pretty good in the Briar deck. Nice little making sure you don't really fatigue or anything like that. Solid card. Next we got Snow Under. This is the blue one. It costs 3. It's a 5 attack, 3 defense. Elemental Guardian attack action. Has Ice Fusion. If Snow Under was fused, it gains. If this hits a hero, create a Frostbite token. Frostbite tokens are good. I'm a big fan. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hold him in any of my sealed decks, but I think that's a good one for it. Overflex. This is a nice little ranger action. Your next arrow attack gains 2 attack. Reload. Reload says you can put a card into empty arsenal slot face down. And it costs 1. This is the blue one. 2 defense. Inspire Lightning. This is Elemental Runeblade attack. Elemental Runeblade action, not attack action. This is the blue one. Costs 1. 2 defense. If Inspire Lightning was fused, it deals 1 arcane damage to target here. I don't really like this card. You know, you need to fuse it for it to do anything, really. But next we got Mulch. This is a pretty solid card. It's the Earth fusion card for the Guardian deck. It's a 6 attack, 3 defense, cost 4. If Mulch was fused, it gains. If this hits a hero, put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of their deck. So a little Command and Conquer-esque in a way. I don't know. I'm playing into my old him deck, my constructed him deck for sure. And now we got Blizzard Bolt. The yellow one, it costs 1. This is an arrow attack. It's got 4 attack, 3 defense. Ice Fusion. If it was fused, whenever an attack deals damage to a hero this turn, create a Frostbite token. Good if you're going Icy Lexi. Icy Lexi? Alright, here's our first rare. Cold Wave. This is an Elemental Ranger action. Arrow attack. Cost 1. This is the blue one. Has 3 attack, 3 defense. Ice Fusion. If it was fused, cards and activated abilities and opposing heroes and additional resources turn. Yeah, pretty good in like ice or cold for Oxy, or cold Lexi. I don't know if that would be the pick here. Next we got Summerwood Shelter. It's the Earth instant. Cost 0. This is the red one. Target defending Earth or Elemental action gains +4 defense. I mean, that's a lot of defense. That's kind of what Earth wants to be doing. Ooh, we got a foil rare here, guys. Snapshot. This is the blue one. It's a 0-costed Elemental Ranger attack action arrow. 2 attack, 3 defense, lightning fusion. If Snapshot was fused, you may activate abilities of bows you control an additional time this turn as though they were an instant. This is pretty good. It's a pretty good enabler for your Shiver, or like a Voltaire if you're lucky enough. I like this card a lot. That might be the pick here. And then our equipment is Runaways, generic equipment legs, instant. Destroy Runaways to prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to your hero this turn. Activate this ability only if your hero has been dealt damage this turn. Decent. I mean, it's not, I don't know. I guess, I don't think it's better than the rares here. But I actually kind of like Snapshot, though. I'm more inclined to go Earth with the Summerwood Shelter. But anyway, all those rares are going to go into the giveaway pile for the giveaway. Usually after about 4 episodes, I do a giveaway. So look for that on Twitter as well. Let me throw these commons somewhere and make sure that we get all the giveaway stuff together. Without further ado, we are going to get into... Oh, we didn't get the legendary in that thing. So I guess that box just didn't have a legendary. Sad. Very sad. So, the topic of today is... Let me take a sip. Is... What's how do each different hero in Flesh and Blood look going into this Tales of Aria season? We're coming out of the Monarch season where Chain was dominating, and obviously there was the big ban of Seeds of Agony and the preemptive ban of Duskblade. I'm going to go through each hero, and I'm just going to chat a little bit about how I think that hero is going to fare in the new environment. We had some big, maybe three new heroes that I think will have multiple archetypes each, based on the fact that you can kind of go one way with the element or the other, ice or earth or lightning, etc. So it'll be interesting to see where they all kind of fall into the meta, and that's just something I want to talk about. So I think maybe how do I want to start? Let's start with the new heroes. How about we do that? So first of all, the 3 heroes out of Tales of Aria, if you don't know, that were introduced are Briar, Lexi, and Oldhim. Briar is the Elemental Runeblade, does Earth and Lightning cards in her deck. Lexi is the Elemental Ranger. She's Lightning Ice. And Oldhim is the Elemental Guardian. And he does Earth and Ice. So so here's my top 3 that I think are going to be good into this upcoming season of competitive play. Number 1 for me, I think, is Oldhim, because I have to. This is like the first kind of like Taxes-esque control deck I think we're really going to see, like, that's beyond just being really super defensive, and I think that he has a really strong effect on him, and I think Frostbite tokens are really going to really slow down the format. And I'm hoping actually that we see Frostbite tokens from Oldhim and Lexi in the format, because that's really going to, if it's just Oldhim really going and Lexi kind of goes Lightning, it's not going to have that big of an effect unless Oldhim really is as good as I think he is. I mean, I don't think we're looking at chain level dominance from any one of these heroes. However, I do think they will be competitive, all in their own way. Oldhim, I think, is going to be one of the trickier matchups for people to figure out initially. And next week, I'm actually going to have someone on who specializes in Guardian, and he's written some articles about Guardian and like Bravo and even some Oldhim stuff. And we're gonna actually just gonna do a deep dive on Oldhim next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Definitely tune in, and I'm excited to talk about it. But I think he is, out of the 3 heroes coming out of Tales of Aria, he's the one to look out for. I'm betting on that horse. I'd love for him to win Nationals or the Calling Orlando. That'd be awesome. But so he's number 1, and I think number 2 is Briar. Briar is undoubtedly powerful. Her effect is I mean, it really costs almost nothing, right? So for those that don't know, her effect is, that's Force of Nature. I want to read it correctly. Oh, where did I throw her? Oh, right here. Briar. So, Briar has, whenever an attack action card you control deals damage, you get an Embodiment of Earth token, which reads, non-attack action cards you control have +1 while defending, and then you destroy it at the beginning of your next turn. So it's kind of cool, right? You get in for damage, and then you get to kind of go back into defense mode a little more. So like you get rewarded for landing a strike. And then her other effect is whenever you play your second non-attack action card, you get an Embodiment of Lightning token, which whenever you play an attack action card, you can destroy Embodiment of Lightning, and that attack gains go again. So, 2 very powerful effects for what I would say is nothing, right? It's kind of the opposite of some heroes. Like one that comes to mind is like Levia. Her ability is turn off blood debt, you know? So basically it's like you get to play these really, you know, powerful cards, but they have the downside of having blood debt. But you kind of need to make it work. You need to get them banished first, and then for the turn, Levia makes sure blood debt doesn't happen. But that's like a lot of work, and it's kind of it's a downside, you know, because you could just kill yourself if you don't activate her ability. Briar's ability is like, it's just tacked on, right? You want to get in for a hit, right? That's the name of the game. You want to kill your opponent, so you're getting that Embodiment of Earth for free already because that's what you wanted to do. And then if you cast 2 non-attack actions, that's not a bad thing to do either. You probably want to do that if you got 2 good non-attack actions in your card. You want to do that. You get the Embodiment of Lightning token. It's all just gravy for Briar. Now, the thing with Briar is it's you know, it's what is the right strategy? What's the strategy that's going to be the winning strategy for Briar? I don't know if we're going to know that. I mean, I like the Earth side of things for her as well, but Lightning could be like an aggro Lightning style of Briar could really be cool. But it is interesting. Like you're going all out with your Lightning and having the Embodiment of Earth for like hitting the opponent doesn't seem like, you know, exactly what it's like. It's I think it's all about finding the right balance. Briar's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be the best Runeblade deck, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But definitely intriguing. He's very limited by by the idea that you kind of want to play these Earth and Lightning cards, as opposed to some of the other Runeblade heroes. You kind of just you get to do a more streamlined thing. So it'll be easier for people to build, especially early in the format. And then, you know, coming in third, and obviously somebody had to come in last, is Lexi. Now, I don't think that is necessarily. I wouldn't say that Lexi's bad in any way. I think this is the best chance we're ever going to get Ranger to be competitive, and I truly think Lexi can be competitive. I've played Lexi in Sealed, and I was like, wow, this. I mean, like, because I never really messed around with Azalea as much. You know, it just wasn't my thing. But Lexi seems like a lot of fun. I think it's Lightning Lexi all the way. If you're going to be competitive, like, you know, with ball lightnings and these really powerful arrow attacks. Voltaire is a crazy good card. New Horizons, obviously a great equipment. I think these things all combined is going to create a really interesting Ranger aggro deck, and it might go. I think probably the best way to go is wide, but I've been reading a lot about some strategies about going tall. So either way, pretty exciting. I think a lot of Ranger fans, you know, I know some that are like really into Azalea, but it's just you've got to play with the hand you're dealt with sometimes. And I think Lexi is a really good spot to be for the Ranger players. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lexi moves up that list, you know, even to a point better than Oldhim. So, you know, obviously this is just my prediction on these. I could be completely off. Briar could just be way better than both of these. But there's something about me that looks at Oldhim. I'm like, wow, that's such a cool strategy that we haven't really seen. Like throwing some Frostbite tokens, being really defensive. You know, kind of controlling the game, taxing their hand. I think that could really be a strong strategy in the meta going in, especially with without Chain there, right? I mean, Chain's here, and we'll get to Chain, but it's going to be interesting how it plays out. So those are the Tales of Aria heroes, and that's really what the big shakeup is going to be outside of the Seeds of Agony ban. But let me take another sip real quick. But now we're gonna get to all of our other favorite heroes. The other 12 heroes, right? That's the amount. First, let's talk about Welcome to Wraith. So, all right. So probably going into this season, this format, with Tales of Aria being in, Katsu is still, I think, top dog. Now that the question is aggro or control Katsu what we're really going to see more of, and I think it all depends on the format, on the speed of the format. I think if it really slows down, I think Katsu might want to go heavier into aggro. Kind of put these players on their back foot a little bit. Now that could definitely you know, kind of backfire on Katsu players, because if a talented player is playing the defensive strategy, I think that's what they want you to do. Be really aggressive, and then they can just kind of like, you know, get in the hits when they can and like really be, you know, controlling the board. So it's hard to say. I do think a control version of Katsu, and the nice thing about Katsu is you can almost board into both. So I think Katsu it's really solid deck, really good card selection for Katsu, and I think that we're gonna see Katsu be a major player again. Now, it was interesting, like in Road to Nat season, it was performing really well. And then you get to the Calling Las Vegas. Now it is one tournament, so you can't really base everything on that. Katsu didn't perform as well. It didn't even make it into the top 8. Obviously, it was dominated by Chain, but Katsu was still doing well in a Chain-dominated format. So we'll see. I strongly suspect Katsu is going to be still a top performer in the new meta. But yeah, that's pretty much where I fall on Katsu. Next is Dorinthia, a lot of people's favorite hero. Dorinthia is the warrior. This is interesting. So Dawnblade is good when it hits, right? That's what you want to do. It has a big requirement. You have to hit for to get those counters. And another reason why Duskblade was banned, because you were getting counters on it for something that you already wanted to do. Play an attack action and a non-attack action. Obviously, that's what you want to do anyway. So why not? I mean, the Duskblade was just insane. I get why it was banned. But anyway, that's a tangent. Dawnblade wants to hit, right? And it has a lot of tools and ways for you to make sure it hits. I think Dorinthia Dawnblade decks are really dependent on how good Oldhim is, honestly. How good Frost Ice in general is. If we see a lot of Ice Oldhim and Ice Lexi, I think Dorinthia takes a hit, because if you're getting your hand taxed, it becomes harder to activate your Dawnblade and pump it and give it Dominate or whatever you need to do to get it in. It really disrupts that strategy, in my opinion. Now, if Ice isn't as prevalent, I think Dorinthia is just as good, if not better, in this upcoming format. I've seen Dorinthia really wallop on some people, and I think it suffered against Chain in general, because Chain could kind of take the hits and then have huge turns. But I think it's still going to be a good deck, but it will have poor matchups against Ice, in my opinion. So we will see. And next is Bravo. Now, I don't think... So Bravo is already a fine deck, a good hero to play. I don't know how many people are going to, all the Bravo players might see Oldhim, shiny new toy, want to play with him. I do like Bravo for being the kind of classic style of Guardian deck. This is what we know. This is a straightforward strategy. It's, hit big, play defensive and hit big. I think it does benefit. It gets one really good card out of, and I guess technically he can play the Rampart, right? He can mess around with the new legendary, and he gets Terra Sunder. And Terra Sunder is the new Majestic from the set that is straight up Guardian. It's not even elemental, so our boy Bravo can play it. It costs 3, pitches for blue, has 3 defense. Your next Guardian attack this turn gains +1, Dominate, and if it hits a hero, they discard 2 cards. Go again. I mean, this card is insane. This card is going to be played in every Guardian deck for maybe ever, right? This card is auto-include. I mean, that hits so hard, defends nicely, pitches for blue. This is exactly what you want to be doing in Guardian. And I think the fact that Bravo gets this and Oldhim gets it, it fares well for both of them. But I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 copies of this card in every Bravo deck going forward. So we will see, and we'll see if Bravo's going to be he's going to be picking up the shield as well. But I think Bravo's in a good spot Not a whole lot to worry about in the new meta. You know, he's always going to be there. He performs well. And you know, without Chain, I think he's in a pretty good spot as well. Next we have, who's the last hero? Rhinar. Okay, so actually, you know, this is interesting. I think Rhinar is going to be good, but not as good as the other brute deck that we'll get to. Rhinar is going to be good. The thing I like about Rhinar Brute in general is, you know, get your scab skin, and he kind of is like, it's boom or bust for brute decks, which is fun. I enjoy that there is a deck like that in the game, and I think it's a fun way to play. Not everybody likes that. Not everybody likes like RNG per se, but I happen to. I think it makes it a little exciting. You know, I like hitting the blackjack tables, and I like rolling craps, and you know, and I like, you know, rolling the dice for my scab skin leathers. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rhinar's gonna be good, but not as good as the other brute deck. I'm gonna say that. That's my prediction, and I'm gonna get into why. And you know, brute is a fun archetype, and I think in general it's going to be good. However, I will say this: if there's a lot of hand disruption going around, it's not as good, because some of the better brute cards require discarding as an additional cost. So if your hand's getting completely decimated, brute could be in trouble. But it remains to be seen. I don't think it cares as much about frostbite tokens. It's usually all in on one big attack a turn anyway. So yeah, I like Rhinar. I think it's probably going to be mid-tier, but we'll see really where he ends up. Still one of my favorite heroes, but it all depends on how things really pan out with like hand disruption. I think you don't want to have a disrupted hand when you're playing brute, because I mean, part of your resource for the brute is to have cards in hand to pitch, or not pitch, obviously to pitch, and to discard for some big attacks. So that's Welcome to Wraith. So so looking at that, we think Katsu's still good, maybe about the same. Dorinthia, gonna be good, but watch out for old him. Bravo, I think it's, you know, Terra Sunder makes it. I mean, it's a nice little boost, and maybe the shield as well. And then Rhinar, we'll see. I think probably about the same as where he's been. Maybe a little bit better in the lower tier that he's been, but we'll see. It really depends. I mean, I like him, but it's hard when a certain other brute is running around, in my opinion. But with that, we'll get over to Arcane Rising. Let me take another sip. I'm going to be taking sips in between each set here, guys. And yeah, I'm drinking a nice little tequila with some seltzer. Just a little something to loosey-goosey. Obviously, if you don't drink, it's totally respectful. I like to have one when I'm doing a podcast. But Arcane Rising. I think Viserai gets a lot better. Viserai is an awesome hero. Big fan of Viserai. It's the OG Runeblade hero. Sting of Sorcery. I think it's, I get the right name. Sting of Sorcery. The new Majestic from, yeah, Sting of Sorcery. Sting of Sorcery, which is the Runeblade action aura, has Go Again. Attack action cards you control gain when you attack. This deals 1 arcane damage to target hero. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Sting of Sorcery. Cost 0. Pitches for blue. This is a good include into the mid range Viscerai. It's not like the one turn kill rune chant deck per se, but in the mid range version, I like Sting of Sorcery. I kind of like this post chain world Viscerai where you can just make a mid range Viscerai that is just streamlined Runeblade stuff, right? Let's just put all the good Runeblade stuff into Viscerai and just outplay our opponents, right? We're going to hit you with some arcane damage. We're going to have some big attacks. We're going to have some really neat interactions with our cards like Sting of Sorcery, and we're gonna just be the perfect blend of strategies for Runeblade. I think Viscerai goes up quite a bit, honestly, and I would not be surprised to see that Viscerai is the new king of Runeblade decks. And I mean, I say that also hoping for my one buddy who invested a lot into Viscerai stuff. And I mean, his deck is really awesome. It's more he does the more of the one turn kill version, which I still think is super powerful. And it will be interesting to see where Viscerai ends up. But my overall opinion is he's going to be, I think he could be top tier. I'll say it. I think Viscerai could be top tier, guys. Listen, this is why he comes to the Fresh and Buds show, right? I'm not afraid to say the things that other people aren't. Viscerai is going to be top tier, guys. You heard it here first. And hopefully I'm right. But, get your null runes ready. Got to stop all that arcane damage. I also like Rosetta Thorn in the mid-range version. I think it's just I mean, Rosetta Thorn is just kind of like a pretty efficient weapon. And now I like the Nebula Blade as well. But Nebula Blade I like a little bit better in the one turn kill. But it is worth it for the 4 damage, but it's just that 2 arcane damage off of Rosetta Thorn. So powerful, so efficient. It's pretty good. And next we got a hero that I think is actually not going to fare that well. Azalea. I'm sorry, Azalea. I know the Azalea fans are out there. I am sorry to say I think Lexi's just better. Right? It makes more sense for Lexi to be good because when you have now and personally I wish Azalea was a little bit better because I do have a Skullbone cross wrap that I would like to have go up in value, but Lexi makes use of, obviously she gets Voltaire, which is super powerful. And if you don't know what Voltaire is, it is the Elemental Ranger bow. And it has a twice per turn instant. 1 resource, you may put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose one. It gets +1 till end of turn, or it gains Go Again till end of turn. That's incredible. And with the New Horizons, you're going to have 2 slots for your arsenal. And with Voltaire, it's just too powerful. And also with the 2 slots, 3 cards like 3 of a Kind, the Majestic, draw 3 cards, and then you may only play cards from your arsenal this turn. I mean, that with Voltaire and New Horizons, just pretty bonkers. It's one reason I could see Lexi being really strong, and unfortunately, because Lexi's going to be pretty strong, I don't think Azalea is really going to have the pieces. As much as it pains me to say, because I know there are some big Azalea fans, but just not looking good for the The OG Ranger. The OG Ranger. But that's going to bring me to a hero that people thought was going to get support in Tales of Aria, but did not. Is Kano the Wizard. Now, Kano's tough. It's like live by the sword, die by the sword. You want to play this rogue deck, and you could totally just take the tournament by surprise and like really eke out some wins. There was that one Kano deck that made day 2 at Vegas. But I think it's just a tough deck to make work. However, I feel like Kano's a great deck to play when there is a new meta, right? And this is probably the most, like, without like any kind of rotation, this is probably gonna be the freshest meta we've ever seen, because there was a huge banning of a dominant deck, or a piece to a dominant deck that is, really has changed the whole way that deck even works. And we're having 3 new heroes thrown into the mix. A lot of people trying out stuff. Some people be just playing what they normally do. I think with like things like Viscerai, people are going more null rune than the arcane barrier, like higher numbers, 2s and 3s. And I think, obviously you're going to still see a lot of Arcanite skullcaps. But that being said, Kano, I think in the beginning of a format, is a really cool choice of a deck. Because there's a lot of uncertainty of what's going on. People playing a new deck that don't really know a whole lot about. A lot of chain players that had to really switch into something that they aren't used to. You come in there with Kano. Nobody prepares for Kano, right? You come in. Kano's like the ultimate rogue, right? Even though he's a wizard, and he comes in and he does his thing. He's throwing all this like huge amounts of arcane damage that your stupid null rune hood's not going to block much of. And it's a really cool deck. I hope that Kano really sees his day. I know there's a lot of players out there who really like that play style. It's not for me personally, but I understand why people like it, and I'm excited for the chance that this might be a meta that allows for some success for Kano and Kano players. So I would say, yeah. I think. There's at least in the beginning of the format, I think we have some chances that Kano sees some serious play. And then again, obviously anybody that disagrees with me, please let me know. I would love to talk about it. Reach out on Twitter, whatever. You can even email me, freshbudpods@gmail.com. Let me know how wrong I was or how right I was. People rarely let you know when you're right, but when you're right, you're right. Next is Dash. To me, Dash is a complicated hero to play. A couple different ways to play it, a lot like Katsu. I think the Dash control deck is probably the better of just straight up aggro, like boosting and whatnot. I think you do want to control with Dash, and I think that might be the way to go. To be honest, I have no clue. I've never even played against Dash, so I don't even really know where this deck stands. I know that the players that play Dash are, really good with that strategy, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was just as good as it was. I don't know if I see it getting worse. It might stay the same, or maybe it just doesn't find a real place in the format. Maybe it's just it's not what people want to be doing. But I think it's still possible, still very possible. But yeah, we'll see. So that's Arcane Rising. Excuse me. And overall, so Viscerai, I think it's getting a lot better. Azalea, not much worse. It was already pretty bottom tier, but it's going to stay pretty bad. Kano, I think good at first, and then when people figure things out, probably not that good anymore. And Dash, I think probably about the same. I can't really make a prediction on Dash, to be honest. But yeah, I think the main thing to look out for from the Arcane Rising heroes is Viscerai coming out of nowhere. But that's going to bring us to Monarch, former home of the Boogeyman Chain. And why not? Let's start with Chain, the last Runeblade hero to talk about. And I talked about this in previous episodes, especially after the banning. I think Chain is still very good. It's a very good, has a really good effect. Whether or not it's good enough anymore is still in question. It did get some good cards in Tales of Aria, like Sting of Sorcery. I think actually is really good in Chain. A lot of people are saying that. I think more people are playing some Tome of Torments. It's also kind of become a balance of when to Soul Shackle or not, which is interesting. Because that was always the best part about Chain. It was like, oh, Soul Shackle, do my things, and pass the turn. But it's still hard for me, even with Seas of Agony gone. Still hard for me to see Chain not being as powerful as it was. I do think Rosetta Thorn could be played in some Chain builds. And we also have the new Spellbound Creepers. Oops, sorry. Which, if you don't know what the Spellbound Creepers are, it has 1 defense, Blade Break, but has a once per turn instant. Put a bind counter on the creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as those an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Spellbound Creepers unless you have dealt arcane damage this turn equal to or greater to the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creeper. Very powerful card. It's kind of something that Chain wants to be doing. So it's totally possible. I think actually I didn't mention that for Viscerai, but I think that probably goes into Viscerai for a little bit too. And these Runeblade cards, man, they keep getting more and more support, which some people are upset about, but it is what it is. So Chain, I think, definitely not as good as it was. It's going to be a lot worse. If I'm gonna guess, I think it might not come together for it. Until there might be some support from the supplemental set. Maybe something to replace Seeds of Agony in a way. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be like bottom to mid tier, which is a significant downgrade from before. Bolton, Sir Bolton, our boy Sir Bolton. This will be another interesting one to see. Sir Bolton, much like Dorinthia, I think a lot is going to depend on the prevalence of ice in the format, and that is going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see. He is still good, I believe, and I think there was some pretty good Sir Bolton play at Vegas, which did intrigue me. And I think sorry. Just trying to read his effect. No light in my room. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think hatchets, maybe. The hatches of mind and hatchet of body might be a pretty cool version of the deck to see. I know there was some saber versions of Bolton. I do like the Raiden Dustblade, which, if you don't know, Raiden Dustblade is the majestic light warrior weapon. Just for him, it has 0 attack, but if you charge this turn, Raiden gains +3, and its attack cost is only 0. So you gotta charge, right? But I do like that because a 0 costed attack is good if there's gonna be some frostbite tokens around. Because, like, all right, whatever, I just pay for the attack this time. I could be wrong. I don't have a lot of experience with Bolton outside of the precon, so you know, I can't really make a guess. But I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be perform just about the same as Dorinthia as the other warrior, which we saw. You know, we think it's going to be good, but I think it's going to be based on how good ice is in general. It seems to me like a archetype that might suffer against frostbite and hand disruption. So we'll see. So I'm going to say dependent on things rating. I don't know. Next, it brings us to Prism. Now, I do think Prism is going to see a lot of play, right? So Prism won Colony Las Vegas. Big underdog. Nice little dark horse there. This is probably going to be one of the top tier decks because I think people are going to, at least for the beginning of the format, I think people are going to be like, first of all, like, at least for the first big tournament, we won't have unlimited Tales of Aria out yet. So some Tales of Aria stuff's going to be hard to get. So they're going to play what they can get. Prism is one of those things. It's proven itself, you know, in the hands of really great players. I think it's a great deck to play. I am very interested to see how prevalent it will be. I don't think it's everybody's favorite deck to play. To me, it's kind of a boring deck to play. That's no shade to anybody who does play it, but it's just not my thing. But I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be in the top tier decks. So I mean, so right now we have a top tier deck, in my opinion, from each set, which is a good thing. And also, I'm actually I'm gonna add another one for Monarch. So Levia, I think Levia is gonna be great, and here's why I think that. Levia is benefited by the hand disruption, right? If you're trying to make Levia discard cards, that's fine because a lot of Levia's best cards need you to banish cards from your graveyard. So you're almost fueling the fire against Levia. She hits hard. I built Levia, and I really think Levia is a hard hitting hero. It has I think it has the reach that Reinhardt doesn't. And it gets to play Carrion Husk, which is an amazing equipment. So I really like Levia. I think this might be the brute deck that we see really get some work in. So I'm actually, yeah, you know what? We're gonna put Levia in the top tiers. And yeah, I there's some, like, when I play it, like, Doomsday is such a powerful card that I'd never even really realized how powerful it was. It's so easy to get Doomsday off, like, as opposed to Eclipse, the other legendary for that for the shadow cards for that was for Chain. Doomsday is just like, you can consistently pop it off by turn 3 or 4, your third or fourth turn. So Levia, I think, watch out for Levia. I think people like Levia, so you might see a lot of it. And I'm going to say she's going to be top tier. Probably not the best deck, but she's going to hit hard, and just watch out. because I'm gonna be playing some Levia. I'm also be playing Old Him. Yeah, but that's pretty much that's every hero. So here's our tier 1, in my opinion. Katsu's gonna remain tier 1. Viserai gets bumped up to tier 1. I think both Prism and Levia are tier 1. I think Oldhim could be a competitor for tier 1. And then you got mid-tier, tier 2. You're going to have Dorinthia, Bravo, definitely. These guys are on the higher tier of tier 2. Dash will probably be there. But Dash could always bump into the top tier. And then Bolton. And I'm going to say Briar and Lexi. And then tier 3, I think we are going to see Chain. Unfortunately. Rest in peace, Chain. Kano. But maybe not at first. We might see Kano in mid-tier in the beginning of this season. Azalea, sadly. And then probably Rhinar. Which is interesting that I just think that the discard against Levia bumps her up so much into tier 1. Now, I'm probably a little bit biased. She's probably going to be a little bit more mid-tier, which is still an improvement from last season. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I mean, let me know if you disagree with this list at all. I'm just kind of, this is a little stream of consciousness, kind of like my thoughts on where things are going to be. Really interested to see how it plays out. I'm super excited with this open meta with Seeds of Agony be banned and Dustblade nipped in the bud, and yeah, it should be really interesting to see. I'm excited. We'll be seeing. I'm going to be playing some small like armory events, and I'll be reporting on those and yeah, and I'm really excited for next week. We have Drew Cordell on the show. He's going to be talking about Oldhim. We're going to be talking about Guardian. We're going to do a nice little deep dive. I'm very excited. I love his articles, and we'll be talking shop, and will be a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's going to do it for the show. I kind of wanted to start ending the show with something. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start ending the show talking about some food I like. This week I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Jersey. But I recently started eating some Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. Now, I love spicy food. Love spicy food. Now, I never had a Nashville hot chicken sandwich in Nashville, so maybe, it's a little bit of sacrilege. But there is a place in North Jersey, in the territory I cover for work, called Namkeen. It's in Chatham, New Jersey. They make, so it's a Pakistani-owned restaurant that makes hot chicken. And when I tell you this chicken sandwich is like amazing, it's like one of the best. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. They have all the different levels of heat. I always go hot, and I don't regret it, but it definitely packs the heat, and I like that. I'm like sweating in the car when I'm eating it. A little coleslaw, a little like remoulade, like kind of creamy sauce on there, some pickles, and a nice brioche bun. Oh, man, it's amazing. So if you like spicy food, and you can get it mild, too, look out for Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. If you've never had one, absolutely delicious. It is one of the best kinds of sandwiches I've ever had in my life. And, you know, I would say it's pretty fresh. And, but yeah, that's going to do it for the show. You can find me on twitter.com/freshbuddspod. You can email the show at gmail.com/freshbuddspod, or not, freshbuddspod@gmail.com. And I have a YouTube. You can just search Fresh and Buds. And yeah, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google, and Anchor.fm, which is what I use to post all the things. And yeah, so definitely let me know if you have any questions, how you feel about that list. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and maybe earlier if you tune in for some of that Creators of Aria Seal tournament. But see you, folks.